I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Jerry.
Good morning, Mr. Schulte, here, Mr. Loring, Mr. Helmers, here, Mr. DeBoer, and I am here. We'll first look at the agenda for today. Is it okay as presented? If so, I'd take a motion.
Motion.
Support.
We have a motion from Loring, support from DeBoer for approval of the agenda as posted. Any discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. We would look at our minutes.
Make a motion on the minutes. Second.
We have a motion from Schulte, support from Loring for approval of the May 13th minutes as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of approval signify with aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Approved minutes. We would next look at our June schedule. And for information, I will be out of town on June 10th, which would likely be a meeting day. Unavailable. Our decision on the medical examiner investigator fees being split brought conversation from our medical examiner, so may need reconsideration on that. Most Tuesdays he's not available. He has indicated the 3rd he may be available if we wanted to meet with him, but I don't know if it's necessary to schedule a meeting at this point. Hope to talk with him further today and see where we stand, but.
And that is about what?
We chose to split the medical examiner fee of $250 with the investigators. And I think a reasonable question was asked, would we make a departmental decision without having the department head available or participate in the discussion at all with any other office? Okay.
I didn't know we were thinking about that. Thinking about what?
We just approved minutes that say we did that.
Yeah, I missed that one.
But
We want to pay all.
I just thinks there needs to be more discussion, maybe more latitude to the examiner to decide. He actually has submitted cases where he thought the examiner should get $100 and the investigator should get $150 rather than even split. It just kind of case dependent on the workload. So if we want to actually meet with him, the 3rd would likely be the most workable, but work can probably be done outside of a meeting and discussed further at a meeting too. Otherwise, the 10th and the 24th would be our standard dates. I'm not aware of anything beyond that.
Who is the state medical examiner?
It's our local medical examiner.
Oh,
Dr. Costers is the medical examiner. The other doctors are associate or deputies. Deputies is the word.
So you're thinking you can do this without having a meeting?
He said his grandkids were going to be around the week of the 3rd, so he was not going to be scheduled at the clinic. So I'd be a little hesitant to schedule him to come to a meeting to address it. Yeah, I think discussions could be had and something could be presented for us to reconsider at a future meeting without necessarily needing to set it, but
Do that.
he is available. And I think if that's the route he would decide or prefer after today's conversation, I can call a meeting on the 3rd without setting it as our June schedule, if you guys are okay with that too. But whatever your preference would be, I guess.
I'd say if you could talk to him and present it to us. That's my opinion.
yep. Thank you.
I will not be available on the 10th. We're going to stick with our regular 10th and 24th meeting.
Yeah, I don't think it's nothing that's desperate or anything.
Motion to approve the June schedule is
I'll
the
make
10th and the 24th.
The 24th. Second.
We have a motion from Helmer, support from Loring to identify the June schedule as meetings on the 10th and the 24th at a regular time. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of approval signify with aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Okay, do we want to have Sharon
I don't
come
think
over to
she's
the next
here.
one or not available? She's presented us. As indicated in the letter provided by the assessor, the review of the homestead and military applications is being done, and she's bringing to our attention that this instance should not be allowed the homestead and military service property tax exemptions because they're claiming Arizona as a primary residence. She has had further conversations with the landowner, and he's understanding and apologetic that missed it or didn't realize, and was even willing to make up back past credits that were given that he shouldn't have had. I gathered from the assessor that that was not the intent. It was just to clean it up going forward.
You did talk to him?
That's my secondhand report, yes. I,
That was my understanding as well. That you did talk to him.
And he's okay with that?
Yeah, he is.
yeah, I got the impression it was almost apologetic, sorry that it had happened, and like I said, willing to make it right for past years if need be, but that is not the
That's what I,
recommendation here. This would just be a disallowance going forward while this situation remains the same. He's going to claim residency in another state.
I'll make the motion.
That would be to approve the disallowance as presented by the assessor.
He says, and that's what he says.
There's support to that motion from Loring.
I'll support that.
The motion by Loring, support for Helmers to approve the disallowance recommended by the assessor for the homestead military service property tax exemption in this case. Any further discussion? With that motion, it would just be going forward, no interest in making clear. Okay. With that motion and understanding, all those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Okay. Next, we would look to consider approval of reappointment of John Bender to Board of Adjustment for the term expiring 5/12 of 2030.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, his term, he's been serving on the board and attending meetings regularly. He's one of our better attendees. And his term is up, so I see no reason why he can't be extended again, and he is willing to serve on the board again.
Okay. Interest in that reappointment?
I would make that motion. Support.
Motion by Helmer, support from Schulte for that reappointment of John Bender to the Board of Adjustment. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Okay, we would look to approve or consider the appointment of Nick Schaefer to the Board of Adjustment with the term expiring 5/12/30.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This appointment would be his first time serving on this board. This seat has been vacant since Brian Van Hoof resigned, or actually asked not to be reappointed at the expiration of his last term. So we've had that seat vacant for almost a year now. We've had advertisements in the paper to try to get it filled. So this position, Nick has expressed interest in wanting to get more knowledgeable about the goings on in the county and is willing to serve on the board. So he, as you may know, is the owner of the 300 acres business out there by May City. He's been before this board a couple times talking about Ragbri.
I'll make a motion to appoint Nick.
I'll second it.
We have a motion from Schulte and support from DeBoer for the appointment of Nick Schaefer. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify with aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Now we would look for approval for consideration of reappointment of Merlin Sandersfeld and Sue Benz to Zoning and Planning Commission, the term ending 6/23/30.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, these are people who are currently serving on the Zoning and Planning Commission, regular attendees and members of the commission. Their terms have expired and they're both willing to continue to serve on this commission.
There's been a clamoring of people that want to fill positions when terms expire.
Well, we didn't advertise
Yeah,
this,
no, I
but
understand.
we got no applicants for the board for a year. It's hard to fill these positions.
Make the motion. Support.
We have a motion from Loring, support from Helmers for reappointment of Merlin Sandersfeld and Sue Benz to the Zoning and Planning Commission. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of reappointment signify with aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Thank you, Mr. Engineer. We would look to consider approval of the appointment of Corey Shearer as EMA E911 Coordinator.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support that.
Discussion on the motion by Schulte, support from DeBoer for the appointment of Corey Shearer as EMA E911 Coordinator. Any discussion? Those in favor of the appointment signify with aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Sign this copy, or do you have one, Rochelle? You have one.
I have one.
Okay. We would look to consider the cost certification of the 24 cost allocation plan. Cost advisory services.
This is just an audit we have done every year, and they can recoup some expenses for us.
This
From
doesn't make the
DHS.
paper, but anybody can exactly explain what it is they capture and recoup for us. I'd love to understand it better, but it seems to have been to our advantage to continue doing it.
I would make a motion for approval of certification and cost allocation.
Second.
We have a motion by Helmers, support from Loring to consider approval or for approval of the fiscal year 24 certification cost allocation plan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of approval signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Let's look at drainage district balances. Fire me in for that, or do you need it?
Is that the Rogers trailer that used to be from around here?
Mm-hmm.
It is? He says it's
It is
not.
the one, it is the one from Spirit Lake,
Or it was Rogers
or Lake
trailer.
Park, I mean.
I don't know where he's from, but I've talked to him before. He talks about Mark and
Oh, yeah.
family and their relatives, and I don't remember the connection, but That was my understanding. I guess I assumed he was from around here if he was related to him, but maybe he wasn't originally around here.
He lives in Lake Park. I think it was a different one.
What's the name?
I thought he's from, well, he's gotta be Middle East, doesn't he?
Oh, I guess, I don't think he said, but maybe I'm thinking about different matters. Sterling, how old?
I'm guessing Middle East.
Sterling lives over there on the lake.
Yeah, that's Roger.
Was married to Johnson.
Yep.
That's him.
So these are the balances, so we can kind of go, joint one is with Dickinson County. We're in the red, $11,360.90. And Barb did some checking, we have additional expenses of $27.53.21. So just to get it out of the black, we would need $14,114.21 assessments. I don't know what balance the board would want on that one.
I almost think if we went to an even 20,000, that'd give us,
Don't we have one more repair project on that one, or is that a different one?
Well, joint two, we have one
Okay.
that we voted on not that long ago, that $2,000. We don't know of any other expenses that we know of.
and we're out of line with having $5,000 a year.
So we have a balance of 20,000, you're thinking?
Yeah, that
Okay.
gives us a balance of about 5,000.
Okay. And then joint two is another thing, we're $8,500 in the red, and we have expenses of $21,932.58, and that includes that $2,000 that they repair, so I don't know what you're thinking for assessments on that one.
This is above and beyond what we considered last week.
This is joint two.
Oh, yeah, then.
Yeah, joint three,
Sorry.
we already got that decided, so we don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
So you thinking 35,000 to have a balance in there, or what you thinking?
Sounds good to me.
35,000 balance, okay. And we don't need to worry about three because we did that all last week. Joint six. We need at least $18,662 to get that in the black. We have an expenses of $68.74 outstanding that we have to pay. So I didn't know what board wanted on that one.
Any word on that landowner withdrawing, or?
I called him a couple times, went to his house a couple times. And I don't know, the cell phone number I got don't work, so I don't know any more than I know last week. In fact, I had my phone on in case I called him again this morning.
Go to 24,000.
Okay. Okay, then the other balances, I don't know.
The question on that one is, if it comes to an
He did call me
end,
back. Let me go on.
Okay.
Call him once.
has that district seen much activity over the years? I don't remember hearing anything about it. So
I don't believe so.
if nothing gets done, then I think a $6,000 or $5,000 balance would be plenty high, but
It doesn't take much of a repair to spend $5,000.
and I've gotten the impression they don't want to spend money just to have it sitting there. But that's my perception. What were you gonna say, Rochelle? So,
Well, DD, or one, I mean, the next 1, 3, and 4, I mean, we haven't had repairs on them, so I don't be just gonna keep the balances the way they are right now. 6 will be back in the red or in the black again, so that'd be about 900 some dollars in there. We haven't had much work in there either. 8's the same way, that's kind of hit and miss. As you can see, DD9 has quite a bit of a balance in there, so I don't know if we're going to have a discussion in a separate board
They were looking
meeting.
into how that was,
We are, but we
Oh.
didn't, but I didn't know. if
Spencer
we-
was too, right? Or
Yeah,
just you?
somewhat. We just didn't know if we need to have a separate meeting to approve that, to have a lawyer help us with that. Or what you want to do. Since we still have waivers out there, we can only reimburse 50% of it. If all the waivers were paid, then we could give it, reimburse all but what balance the board wants to have in there. So I don't know if I should have have another meeting on joint 9 and 43 to discuss this further, or what the board wants me to do with that. To start working on that. Then DD10, we need at least about $4,000. I didn't know what kind of balance you guys wanted in there.
In years past, haven't you presented one that kind of shows the last number of years' expenses within those districts too?
No, I don't think so. I don't know if there's a report for that in drainage. Beginning balance kind of tells you that, we've been if we were in the red or prior to. This just shows this year. Drainage accounting is nothing like regular accounting, and not many counties have drainage, so they don't update it like they should, probably.
Historically, I think we've done $1,000 to $2,000 balances. I know 5,000 would go quickly if and when something happens, but we just don't see that a lot year to year usually. On 10, I'd recommend 5,000 so that we have a little over 1,000 there, but thoughts?
And let's back off the rest of them too.
Well, joint two, since there's still work being done, you never know if that's gonna go over, that might be okay there. Maybe.
One, I don't recall. That was just a repair that.
That was
Some
repair, but they also
vendors,
had some more work done over there. It looks like, do you know what else they're doing over in joint two in Dickinson County? Because we have $21,000 of expenses out yet.
And then 20 of that was from joint 3, the transfer.
Oh, yeah.
Shared use agreement or
Yep,
whatever it is.
yep, I
Shared
forgot
on
about
later.
that.
I was wondering about joint one. I don't really remember that. being discussed. That was just a repair that put them negative. Anything, Jerry?
Yeah, he has mixed feelings about it, but he'd like to keep pursuing it. He's about like us. He said, now I'm pushing this issue, now I'm spending somebody else's money, he said. So, he'd like to keep investigating, see what can be done. That's just what he told me, so he is not gonna withdraw his petition.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Then on joint 6, I think the $5,500 balance would not be out of line, if not more. Yeah, my thought would be joint 2 would be fine to go with a 5,000 balance. I think there's gonna be activity yet there. Joint 1, I'd be content going back and down to a $1,000 to $2,000 balance. Thoughts?
Which one are we at? Which one are we
I'd
at?
said on number 10, I would prefer to see us have only about $1,000 balance. I think we've seen a lot of year-to-year activity. I know it will go quick if and when it comes, but it seems like there's a strong desire to have a high balance or fund balance in those accounts. So joint 1 and number 10, I would target 1,000 or 2,000 balance. Joint 2 and joint 6, there's activity happening, so I think it's going to be needed to have higher balance. But
So you think instead of a $20,000 balance, or assessing 20,000, we go down to what, 17 or 18, or what are we thinking?
that's my preference, but it's up to the board. On joint 1, you're saying?
Joint 1, yeah.
Final thoughts on joint 1?
If there's $1,000 balance and a bill comes in for say 2,000, you get stuck holding the other 1,000.
It's a stamped warrant that we pay 6% interest on until we have money on there. So it'll be about a year that we would either get paid, whatever the balance is in that fund, and then let's say we have $1,000 you have to pay on it. They get a warrant, but it's a stamped warrant at 6%. If they don't wanna wait that long, then they can cash it in at the treasurer's office, from the treasurer's office, and then the county holds on to it to get the interest on it for the year. Or they sell it to an investor. That's what ISG does, they sell it to an investor. 6% is pretty good. I don't know, then drainage ditch 11, we're in the red, 50 or 5,500. I don't know what balance you want in there. Getting 7,000, 7,500, 7,000.
That's what I think.
Okay. We got DD 28, 3,500 or 3,200. So we thinking 5,000, 5,500.
$4,500, give us $1,500,
4,500 out of
$1,300,
balance.
I guess.
Okay. And then we got DD number 39, $1,300 in the red. $2,500, 3,000, 2,500. Still got waivers on them, so we're good there. 64 and 65. 64 and 65, we're good on them. We have waivers out on there yet. I don't know about DD number 4, main tile and lateral tile. We have, $7 and $10 balance, but we haven't had any expenses either, so. You guys just gonna leave it until we do, or? The next one that's in the red is DD number 43, lateral 2. That was a Fell Camp petition. That's 10,546 in the red. So I'm gonna make that, what, 12,000? More than that?
Sounds good.
Were they gonna get something accomplished privately, or is that gonna come back to board?
They're gonna get something done the way it looks. That's what I was told too.
So that joint one, you still, getting back to that, you still want that at 20,000 balance, or do you want to reduce that a little bit?
I think when there's not a lot of activity, 1,000 to 2,000 has been a pretty standard practice, but I'm not hearing a lot of other opinions.
Sounds good. Let's make a deal.
Okay, I do 17,500, that worked, and then, so, joint one, we have that, reduce that to balance of 17,500, Joint 2 is 35,000 balance. Joint 6, I got $24,000
You wanna
balance.
do a balance of 17,500?
No, but once we'll assess it for that, so then,
Oh,
About
okay.
25.
yeah, now I have sorry, I said that wrong, yep. I understood what you said, I just wasn't saying it wrong. And then, I know. And then joint 6, we would just assess the 24,000. Then DD 10, we have assessed 5,000, 11, 7,000. Then DD 28, 4,500, DD 39, 2,500. That's all and then on DD 43 lateral 2, assessing $12,000. That makes sense to everybody? And then I'll have it on the agenda then to discuss approval to what we can do to reduce the balances in 9 and 43. We'll bring a resolution to approve later then for the percentage.
So no motion or action on that, because that resolution will come.
Yeah, the resolution will cover it. We just had to know the balances. You got everything, Barb? Okay.
Look at claims.
Put a deflector on that.
Not yet. We got the heat on though. We don't have the air on.
Cold air.
Yeah, it's the heat's on. Next week would probably be the air, I'm guessing.
There's a claim to Bosma Water Service, number 1942.
I make a motion to pay that claim.
I'll second it.
Motion from Helmer, support from DeBoer for claim number 1942. I will abstain. Any discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Abstain. Remainder of the claims will be for consideration. Yeah.
They're doing it again, Mike, did you see that?
What?
Up there, earnings.
Oh, yeah. Won't be fun to give up. This makes me mad. Make a motion on this, the claims.
Support.
We have a motion from Schulte, support from the board for the remainder of the claims. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Anything under other business?
I have a question about the courthouse, under the courthouse. We need to redo the floors again. They're not great. And I didn't know if I could, if the board still want me to get bids, or can I just get one quota from somebody and call it good, or? The stairs are terrible. They need to be redone.
That guy from Jordan's, did he do it before or not?
He did not. I was gonna try him this time. Last time there was only like $300 or $400 difference between the two bids I did get, so,
We went with the lower and.
yeah.
So you're not pleased?
Say that out loud. Okay, I'll get a quote before I do anything. And the windows need to be done too, but I don't think we should do it now until after the dirt work is done and we start doing. I think it's just a waste of money unless the board thinks differently, but I just think it's a waste of money right now until all that's done. Reggie's trying to we're trying to find some things to do it ourselves without hiring somebody, but until that's done, I don't want to waste money, I guess.
I think the sheriff's office hired a new guy, so filled the position, so that was good.
I'll be hopefully meeting with the medical examiner at 12:30 today. If someone would like to join me, that'd be good. I don't want my perception or my review of it to be the only one.
Who's close?
I wanted to address the use of the medical examiner investigators and maybe if there's some sort of protocol or whatever, and I'm getting a little bit of indication that that's the ME's call. So I don't know if that will necessarily be on the discussion today, so, or at least with the EMS director. So. Accomplish what I can on this, but.
When are we gonna run an ad for Sandy's job?
It's a good question. Even though she's gonna retire a little bit later, right? It's not gonna be January anymore. More like March or April, or
I
no?
think she's doing that because.
Another reason, so.
I don't know, Terry.
I think we should run an ad. That's just my opinion. Until the effective start date is say whatever. It's gonna take us a month or two to get people put together.
There hasn't been an ad put in yet about the assistant up there for the county attorney. I think the new county attorney would like to be a part of that, which I think
Probably a good idea.
makes
I think it
fair.
would be.
You know, so nothing's been done with that yet until she gets here, so just, you guys know that.
We take action on the EMS director, or does that come with the recommendation from the EMS board?
we're gonna have to have a discussion on that anyway with the balances and, or how you're gonna do the PCC money.
What do you think?
Well, we're gonna have to have a discussion on if it stays in general basic or if we're gonna transfer it to the EMS fund.
I think it should go to the EMS fund.
We have to have a discussion on that.
In the annual report they show to us that the code requires should have indicated that.
Yeah, but not at first. You know, when we talked to the state auditor, I think you were with me, they said that that PCC money had to come out of general. Now,
Well, that's because it's expended out of general.
yeah, but
If they're
then,
taking on the expense, I think there's room for the, what's recovered to go back in there, but.
well, I was always told if you take expenses out of
I
it,
don't
the
know.
money has to go back into it. But, you know, now there's more counties doing this EMS, so now things are, they're getting more information out there, I think. So we might need to revisit that, but. Yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't, I just, in the beginning, that's what they told us, that it had to go back in to where it was being paid out of. So, like I said, there's more counties doing it now, so there's more information out there. Or their thought process changed a little bit, maybe. I don't know. Just, you know, that's $200,000 out of the general fund, so just an FYI.
Well, basically, it's gonna come out of there anyhow.
Not all of it, but some of it, yeah. This year, we weren't, you know, this year we didn't have to give them any extra money. We gave them the $100,000 that they have to pay us back, but we didn't have to do another transfer for expenses, so.
Yeah, don't we have another, what, 100 or 150 coming out for that ambulance?
Not out of that fund. That's coming out of general. Or we transferred that money into that ambulance fund. We transferred $150,000 out of the general into that ambulance fund. So it's not,
It came out of there anyway.
yeah, it's not coming out of the EMS funds. It's coming out of that general. When we pay for it next fiscal year. Just, we'll have to discuss that in a later date.
Future agenda item.
Yeah.
10th sounds like a fine time for you guys to discuss. Get that squared away.
Can't do anything until July 1st anyway, so.
Anything further? Look to adjourn.
Got it.
Second.
Motion by Schulte, support from DeBoer for adjournment. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign.